Well, good morning, ladies and gents. And I'm having a bit of a rush because the tide is coming in and I'm trying to get the image that I want before I get swept away or get cut off. We're at sunrise. It's stupid o'clock in the morning, about 10 to 4. Sunrise is 4:30. And where are we? I'm at a place called Mablethorpe. And what attracted my attention, you wouldn't have seen it just now. I did do a little bit of, excuse me, that went slightly wrong. Less speed, more haste. Go back to there. What's that? Right. There's a marker post out of there. And there's a series of circular blocks. You're perched on top of one of them. It just screams long exposure. When you're looking at it on Google Maps, excuse me while I'm looking around, I'm just keeping an eye on the tide. When you're looking at it on Google Maps, they seem to go straight out from the promenade. Can't speak, I'm that tired. When you get here, they don't really. There's a huge concrete platform, which is what I'm stood on, serrated edge down one side, which would actually make quite a nice image of its own accord. And then the blocks and the marker posts are offset, they're over there. I'd wanted to shoot from that side, but that would be shooting into the light. The sun's coming up down here, and excuse me if we're getting any wind noise, the wind's blowing directly into me. Band of cloud, blue sky, which, to be fair, is exactly what was forecast. They said there wasn't going to be any real cloud cover. But already, although we're a good 40 minutes off sunrise, there's some nice side light catching the marker post. Now when I got here, I just set up as quickly as I could, popped a 0.6 soft grad in, soft grad, might be hard grad, F14, and fired an exposure. It was 20 seconds, but that hadn't smoothed the water out enough for my liking. And we have a slight problem with the exposure because over there, the sky is really, really dark, and over here it's really, really light. So I've had to angle the filter slightly to try and compensate slightly. Not sure if it's worked. Because I hadn't smoothed the water as much as I wanted, I've now banged the 6-stop in and I'm just letting it cook. I've dropped down to f7.1 just to open it up, let more light in. And I'm just going to let it cook. And I don't know if you can see from there, but this concrete pad is rapidly getting wet. That side of it is still dry. That's my escape route, and my camera bag's back there. Oh, I'm just getting myself all in a tidder. That's better, let's get rid of that. We've got the row of blocks, circular blocks leading out, but then we have one down here, all on its lonesome. And I'm thinking, oh, I quite like that. The concrete pad starts just in front of it, and there's a slope. Keeping an eye on everything here, because my bag's now all the way up there. So I thought, if we could isolate this one, it would make a really, really minimal image. And I'm trying to get it set dead center. I've taken the 6-stop off, and now I'm just running with a grad, because that sky is ridiculously bright. And in fact, it's so bright, I don't think I'm actually going to be able to darken it down sufficiently. But I'm aiming for a shutter speed of a second. And what I'm aiming for is a little bit of dragging motion as the water comes up this block. And I thought a second would be about right, but it's just still not, it's still too long. And then I've got to time it correctly. I've now dropped up to f14. I'm on a 2-second shutter delay. That's more like it. So I'm trying to make my 2 seconds work. That was perfect with the waves, but then the block had disappeared underwater completely. And I am going to have to, I think, make a bit of a retreat, because I'm now getting water down this side. Yeah, I think I've got one, just to make sure that's focused. Yeah. Most bizarre things. Trying to freeze the action slightly, which I know isn't like me at all. But you have to try different things. That's too slow. And I'm waiting for the water to come up. That could be a good one. Yes, that's more like it. I've got a bit of wave coming in and dragging back. And hopefully, I've caught it right. No, I still haven't got the water coming out the top. But I shouldn't be greedy. I can't have it all, can I? No, too much wave action. I really do dislike non-smooth water. Try that one. Yeah. Right, I'm just going to play here for a minute, and then I'm going to possibly move over to there and see if I can get the serrated edge of this walkway in. Or this, it's got to be some sort of landing pad for boats. No, don't like that one. Right, leave me to play. Well, I'm just having, oh, hang on. Just having a little play. I thought for a giggle I'd put the 10 stop on. I think I've overcooked that one somewhat. Oh dear. Yes, yeah, I think that was definitely a little bit too long. I'm normally fairly good at judging these things. So I'm just going to trigger that again. I've got the 10 stop. I have a 0.6 reverse, because the sky is ridiculously bright. A 0.6 hard grad. And that's it. I can't put the polarizer on, which is really frustrating. Excuse me. Because it would help even out the tones between the sky and the water. The sun is just beginning to break above the band of cloud in that direction. The little fluffy bits of cloud that we've got aren't catching any light whatsoever. But there is what almost looks like a contrail going straight across the top of the fluffy little clouds. That might catch a little bit, but we are getting a little bit of light on the round groiny block things, which fascinate me. I've decided I'm actually relatively safe here so long as I don't get swept out, and that's why I don't leave the camera at the moment, because this concrete walkway isn't anywhere near covered. And that was the reason for coming here, as I said earlier. We're at a really high tide today, and I was hoping that the concrete blocks on this walkway would also get covered. I'm not convinced it's going to happen. We're still about 40 minutes off high tide, but I don't see it coming in far enough to actually cover the walkway. But hey ho, you live and learn, don't you? Right, I'm going to spin you around and let you have a look around. I'm going to try not to blind you. In the distance, you'll see over here, we have, I can't make up my mind if it's a ship. I think it's a container ship. And then we have another block out here. And again, I'm debating whether that is a ship or an oil rig. I think they're both ships. Seems a very strange place for them to be parked up. But you should be able to see now the bank of cloud up here. There's a little bit of light just catching on it. And you can see what I mean by these circular blocks. And every now and then the water will whoosh up in the middle of them. It's happening more out on the distant ones than the closer ones. But I love how the water just drains off these first two. But to capture that drain means doing a short exposure, and I don't like the effect on the water with the shorter exposure. And I did think about trying to blend them. That's actually worked quite nicely, I do believe. I want to just take my filters off and double check my focus. The one thing Z doesn't do particularly well, which the 7D7200 did, is focus in low light when I've got my filters on. And I know I'm asking a lot of the camera when I'm trying to get it to focus through a 10 stop. But I have to try, because I've run out of hands to take my filters off. I'm shooting currently at I think it was at f8, because I didn't want a week-long exposure, but I wanted a longer exposure than the 6 stop was giving me. I really should be kind of stood in front of the side of the camera just to try and prevent any light getting in on that. I think we're safe. And I'm just shooting with the 17-55. I could ideally do with the long lens on, and I think that's going to come out when I have to move back up here, which is going to be fairly soon. I've been trying to figure out a way to incorporate this serrated edge of the concrete pad into a composition. And I'm relaxing a little bit now because the tide has just gone past high tide. It was 5:05, I think. We're now at about 5:15. And I'm struggling. I wanted to shoot over here because that would have picked up the nice light coming up on those blocks and the marker post. But shooting from here, oh, it's a bit slippery. Because the water isn't coming up over this pad high enough, unfortunately, it really didn't work with a massive concrete and one of these iron concrete, I think they're iron blocks. So I've come over to the right hand side and I think I found a composition that works. I'm not 100% convinced, but I think I have. Oh, so I'm going to spin you around and show you what we found. Now I'm looking almost directly into the sun, so I could struggle a little bit here. We've got the concrete pad coming in from the left, and then it curves round right at the end and leads you out to the blocks and that marker post. We're getting some beautiful light there now, and I believe that works. I'm still shooting with the 10 stop. You're not going to see that for in a month of Sundays. I've got 30 seconds, excuse me, an f10, and I believe that works. I'm raising the f-stop rather than increasing the shutter speed. And bizarrely and unusually for me, I'm now watching the histogram. F11, 30 seconds, seems to be pushing it. Really pushing it right up against the right hand side of the histogram, because there is no cloud cover. It's just that brilliant sunlight. Let's move up here. Let's stand in front. That's it. Just putting a bit of a shield along the edge of the filters. I don't think it's going to get any light leak, but just in case. And I think that's about it. I think we're about done. Yeah, they are ships. They've turned broadside now, so I can see them properly. They're all lit up when I got here. Let's have a look at that, see what that's done. Whee! Yes. 30 seconds, I can push that. I can. So what the composition gives me, so I'm not going to increase the shutter speed, I'm just going to open the shutter up a bit, open the f-stop up, go back to f8. So the effect that I'm going for is a very gentle curve, come from the left, swooping out, and then lead you out into the distance. A couple of bits of housekeeping. First off, a huge shout out to Keys. Thank you so much. I was shocked and humbled and almost embarrassed. For those of you who've not got the foggiest what I'm on about, 2 videos back, or the video before last, have a look. Oh no, that's a little bit too much on f8, so we'll go to f9, keep it at 30 seconds. Oh, now I need a new battery in the camera. Right, I'll leave that for a minute. I've enabled something on the channel, and I haven't mentioned it before, called Super Thanks. And I'm not going to say anything else. If you want to go and have a look, you can do. And Keys very kindly used that twice. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. As with everybody, we're all struggling at the moment money-wise. I'm possibly going to drop down to a video every second week simply because of fuel costs. I just can't afford to keep travelling as much as I want to, and there aren't sufficient subjects at home that I want to shoot. So thank you very much, Keys, much appreciated. I've also had a couple of emails asking how my tripod's going, the old K&F. Well, despite my best efforts to kill it, it's going strong. I keep stripping it down and cleaning it. I don't know what they're called. They're like little shims inside the legs where the legs join onto one another. They're fragile. They're fragile by their very nature, but they're still going strong. The screw legs, the rubbers are coming a little bit loose, but I must have had it 3, maybe 4 years now, and it has a hard life, bless it. I'm well happy. I couldn't be happier with that. It's absolutely perfect. And that's it. So from a very sunny Mablethorpe, there's all sorts of people out on the beach with metal detectors this morning, looking for the pennies that the drunkards have dropped, I suppose, on a Saturday night. Yes, from a very sunny Mablethorpe, in June, at 5:15 in the morning. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the images. Fingers crossed they've worked. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for all your support. In my current frame of mind, which I'm not going to harp on, your support means everything. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch up with you, hopefully, next Sunday. Bye for now.